Hey listeners, if you haven't heard about Anchor.fm, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Anchor.fm is free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.fm.
Hi, and welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life, and where we answer the question, what does food mean to you? This is Maria Liberati. Today's segment, I travel to the UK to visit with Wendy Smith. Wendy is a former Paralympian, a trauma expert, and an author, and Wendy is sharing with us some phenomenal tips on how to bring positivity into your life and motivation, and also how to discover the true, authentic you. Her tips are just amazing, especially for the world that we're living in now. They are such simple tips on how to bring positivity that everyone can do into their lives. I'll also be sharing a recipe for ricotta pistachio ravioli. You know, this week is National Ravioli Day on Friday, March 19th, and I filmed a segment for Channel 9 News with Sistina Jordana of the Bridge Street Channel 9 News in Syracuse, and the segment will be shown on Channel 9 News on Friday, March 19th on National Ravioli Day at 11 a.m. So if you're in Syracuse, please look for that segment. You will be able to download the recipe on my website at marialiberati.com, and stay tuned. I will be giving that recipe. And before we get on to today's interview and the recipe that I'm sharing and celebrating National Ravioli Day, I just want to mention that on April 2nd at 2 p.m., I will be doing an event on Zoom making a lemon ricotta Easter bread. And I'll have as a special guest celebrity chef Joe Borio, and he will be doing another treat for Easter with me. If you'd like to join us and register for the class, you can go to Eventbrite and just register for my class. It's April 2nd. You can also go to my website at marialiberati.com and you'll see a link. It's right on the front page. Registration is limited, so register as soon as possible. Again, I'll be making an Easter lemon ricotta bread, and you'll get a recipe card from that as well. So please join us. So let's start off with National Ravioli Day and my recipe for a spring ravioli. So yes, as mentioned, Friday, March 19th is National Ravioli Day, but you know, in Italy, it's also another special holiday. It's St. Joseph's Day, which also is celebrated as Father's Day in Italy. St. Joseph's Day is a holiday that has long-standing tradition, especially in specific parts of Italy. And in the Molise region of Italy, there's a little town called Riccia that my maternal grandmother was from. And if anyone has family from there, or if you are from there, because the show does reach Italy, please reach out and let us know if you have any favorite recipes you can share for St. Joseph's Day, or if you have any special photos of the celebration. That town of Riccia has all kinds of celebrations, and they have a long-standing tradition of a special dinner that they do for St. Joseph's Day. So happy Father's Day for everyone out there, my listening audience that are dads. And here's my recipe for ricotta pistachio ravioli with fresh cherry tomatoes. Here's the ingredients. We'll start with the dough. So if you're going to make a fresh pasta dough, and there's nothing like freshly made ravioli made using fresh pasta dough. For the dough, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of semolina flour, if you are using extra large eggs, you can use 3 eggs. If they're medium eggs or small eggs, you need at least 5. And a pinch of salt. Make a well in the center of a wooden board with the flour and place in the eggs. Whisk the eggs into the flour a little at a time, then blend the dough by hand. You can also place ingredients into a food processor and blend. Then place the dough on the floured wooden board and work till the dough is elastic and doesn't stick to your hands. If it sticks, add some flour to your hands and knead the dough for about 10 minutes. The dough should be smooth and elastic. Form the dough into 3 balls and cover with plastic wrap. Let the dough sit at room temperature for 15 minutes. Then place the dough on a floured wooden board and roll out, or if you're using a pasta machine, flatten one of the dough balls to about a half of an inch thick and not wider than the slot of the pasta machine. Dust the dough with a flour so it doesn't stick to the pasta machine. Turn the handle while feeding the dough and hold the flattened dough as it comes out, but do not pull it. If you do not have a pasta machine, use a rolling pin to roll the dough on the floured board. The dough should be about 1/16 of an inch thick. Place 1 sheet of pasta over the ravioli maker. Press the cup mold into the pasta to form small indentations in the pasta to hold the filling. Place in a tablespoon of filling and cover with another sheet of dough. Roll with a rolling pin and press out each ravioli. Place on a cookie sheet dusted with semolina flour. Alternatively, you can cut ravioli with a round cookie cutter, fill the center, and cover with another disc of pasta. Brush edges of pasta with a pastry brush dipped in water. This will help the pasta to remain sealed and not break during cooking. Cook the ravioli in salted boiling water for 3 to 4 minutes. Now on to the filling. For the filling, use 1 cup of ricotta cheese, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped pistachios, the zest of 1 fresh lemon, pinch of salt, and a pinch of black pepper. Place all ingredients for the filling into a bowl, blend with a spoon or fork, and set aside. And that's what you're going to use to stuff the raviolis in the ravioli maker. Now, if you're not sure what a ravioli maker is, you can email me or just let me know on social media or comment on my blog where the recipe is, and I'll send you a picture of a ravioli maker. Now for the sauce is a cherry tomato sauce. And again, as I said, this is kind of a springy dish, so it's not a real heavy sauce. It's kind of a light sauce made with mint. You're getting the flavor of mint to put you in that spring mood. So for this sauce, you're going to need 2 cups of fresh cherry or grape tomatoes, a handful of fresh mint leaves, but you're going to leave the mint leaves whole. Take them off of the stems. 1 clove of garlic, 1 tablespoon of finely crushed pistachio nuts, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and salt and pepper to taste. Cut the cherry tomatoes in quarters. Place the olive oil and garlic clove into a large saute pan. Add in the tomatoes and mint leaves. Season with salt and black pepper. Saute for 5 minutes. You're going to then remove the whole mint leaves. Then add in and toss the cooked ravioli. And voila, you have your ricotta pistachio ravioli. Be sure to remove the sauce from the heat after you sauteed it for 5 minutes and before you put the ravioli in, because you don't want the ravioli to be overcooked. Enjoy, and if you do this recipe, please share. Hashtag the Maria Liberati Show. You may be selected for an autographed copy of one of my books from The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. And if you'd like more recipes, you can find more recipes like this on my blog at marialiberati.com. You can also find more recipes in my Gourmand World Award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Holidays and Special Occasions, and The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Da Vinci Style. We also have the Basic Art of series now, which includes The Basic Art of Coffee, The Basic Art of Pasta, The Basic Art of Pizza, The Basic Art of Cocktails, The Basic Art of Creating a Tuscan-Style Wedding, and The Basic Art of Experiencing Venice. Those books are coffee table books, and they have recipes and short stories on one topic. If you'd like to get any of the books, please go to my website, marialiberati.com, or the publisher's website at artoflivingprimamedia.com, or any online bookstore, and you can find the books. If you'd like to get an autographed copy, shoot me an email, maria@marialiberati.com, and I'll be sure that your copy is autographed.
In honor of Women's Month, this month, the month of March, we have some really talented women that we've been interviewing all month. And I do have another special guest today. It's Wendy Smith, who incidentally, she's in the UK. We're traveling to the UK today through Wendy. But Wendy is a former Paralympian. She's also a trauma specialist, and she's an author. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself as well first. She's got such an interesting background. Wendy, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, Maria, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to get involved with this, especially in Women's Month as well.
Yes. And Wendy, can you tell my audience a little bit about you? You have such an interesting background.
Yeah, so I'll do a speed walk through Wendy's life. So at school, when I was at school, I wanted to be a car mechanic. Really short story. My dad was a test driver for a motor company, so I grew up under the bonnet of cars. So that was my first dream. And then I found myself, when I went to do this, in a male environment where it was quite chauvinistic, and I didn't have a lot of confidence and belief in myself, and I left very quickly. Then I went to become a secretary, which wasn't very fulfilling, but it was a job because I was brought up to just work. And then I had a motorbike accident when I was 17 years old, and that's where my whole entire life changed. I'd gone from being fully able-bodied and sport mad to then laid up in a bed being told I'd never walk again, paralysed from the chest down. And I spent around about 8 months in hospital, and then to the disbelief of the doctors, I walked out on crutches 8 months later. And that basically set me on the path to wondering why. I wanted to know why. What was different about my body? What had I done that had created the ability to fix my spinal cord and walk again? So then I basically wandered off on a journey all over the place, meeting physiotherapists and doing different exercises in the gym, doing downhill mountain biking, going back to riding horses, and just trying to do everything to fix my body, but nothing really seemed to work. So then I started studying mindset. And through my own traumas, through my own depression and my own suicidal thoughts, I discovered, first of all, neuro-linguistic programming was like the biggest eye-opener for me about the power of my human system and how everything I was doing to myself. So it was my thoughts that were creating the negative loops. And it was my feelings, my emotions. And that allowed me to take control back of my system. And then I just wanted to help other people. So I ended up randomly, nothing in life is random really. I ended up playing wheelchair basketball and went to a Paralympic Games in 2004. And I met so many people who had limited beliefs around themselves and their potential that I thought, how can I help these girls, these people? So I became a basketball coach, then a basketball tutor. I integrated that with the sports psychology and the NLP. And then I wandered into trauma therapy, and I use a recoding technique that can actually recode stored emotions around subjects to release people from PTSD and trauma. And then that led me into writing a book, standing on speaking stages, and doing everything I do now in life, really, Maria. So that's me in a nutshell.
Wow, yes. And what a little nutshell that's a gigantic nutshell. Wow, that is incredible. That is really incredible. And I love the way you said that, that we actually do have more power than people really, the human body, the human mind is more powerful than people really give it credit, correct?
Indeed. I always say we're walking about in the biggest supercomputer on the planet. The only difference between us and a computer system is we're not taught how to use our operating system in school.
Wow, that is, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. I was saying, if we were taught to use the operating system in school, literally the sky has no limit for anybody.
Yes, and that is so interesting, especially so in today's world, and I'm in today's world where everybody almost all around the world is dealing with this pandemic and isolation and depression. Can you give us some tips, I guess, on how to ditch the negative thoughts? Because so many people dwell on negativity, and I'm one that I always try to look the other way. It sometimes it is difficult to tell people because some situations are, definitely quite daunting, but I'm sure you have some tips out there to help people to ditch negative thoughts and try to stay on the positive side of things.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. I think one of the most powerful things, we've not got visuals on this podcast, but if people could just use their imagination for one moment. If you imagine an A4 sheet of white paper, and that is your day. So that is everything your unconscious sees through the whole day. And in the middle of that piece of paper, there's a tiny little, the size of a pinhead, black dot. And that's all your conscious brain can focus on out of the day. So if you imagine, if you wake up with anxiety and you're looking at your little black dot of anxiety, you cannot see anything else around you other than what you're focused on. So you're basically pulling into your day everything connected to that dot. And when you understand that and you start backing up from the dot, you can actually see like, wow, there's this whole white page of day that's full of so much more than anxiety. So that's the quick version of how to start that. Just imagine that you're staring at a little black dot and you've got your face right on it. And if you back up from it, there's so much other stuff around you that's not the perceived problem. And then that gives you the opportunity just to breathe a little bit. And I say to people as well, think of your body, whatever you feed your body is the result that you're going to get in life. So whether that's the food you're putting in, the people that are around you, the energy systems that you're socializing with, or what you're watching, reading, or listening to. So if you're watching a constant stream of fear or negativity on the TV, you're basically breeding that. Your body is having that same experience as you're watching it. So you're actually running the same chemistry, and you're sort of in a way on purpose creating those feelings in your body. If you're listening to negative conversation and gossip, and have you ever met those people? I call them mood hoovers. They sort of come into the room and they literally suck the life like a hoover out of everybody in the environment with their, maybe pessimistic attitudes, or just, oh, woe is me, it's been a terrible day. And, and you spend a short period of time with them and then you just feel like literally drained. So I say, just be aware of how are you balancing yourself through the day. Are you spending time also with the people that juice you up, that give you energy? I have a saying, not selfish, but self first. You are so important in your life, because if you're drained, you can't help anybody anyway. So it's just thinking about how do you juice yourself up? Your lovely habits throughout the day, do people, when they wake up in the morning, just checking in on your thought processes before you get out of bed and going, actually, where is my head at? Am I in a good state of mind? Or am I in a negative state of mind? And then just spending a little bit of time, breathing. Deep breathing is very underrated, but try and go without breathing for 5 minutes and see where you end up. But when you do some deep breathing and you just start thinking, not, how can I be in like fairyland positivity, but what balanced thoughts can I have? And I always say to people, just sit there and go, actually, everything's okay. Not it's like, woo, yeah, awesome. Do you know what I mean? Because that's like too high a vibration if you're coming out of a negative space. So what can you be grateful for? What have you got that is actually good in your life? Because when, again, you move away from the dot, you'll see there's a lot more in there. So set your state in the morning, bit of lovely deep breathing, getting your head in the right place, and then just spend some time nurturing you. Make sure you get outside, Maria. That's a very important one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Fresh air, nature, go and reconnect. But just make sure you're looking after you first, and then you can look after everybody else.
Those are all very good ideas. I think one thing too, and you mentioned it, is being grateful. I notice people, they're down and they get depressed about things that really don't even seem to matter in life. And sometimes I'll say, well, can you eat? Can you walk? Can you talk? Can you see? Well, those are all things to focus that you should be happy that you have, because not everybody has very skills, those you know, things that they can do. So if you can do any of that, you're really, you know, focus on those things, be grateful. But you know, you're absolutely right. So many things to be grateful for. And to
gratitude as well. Have you heard of the Heart Math Institute?
No.
No, so there's something called the Heart Math Institute, and these guys have been going a long, long time, and they study what they call heart-brain coherence. And it's the short version of this is, if you just slow your breathing down to 5 in, 5 out, and then put your hand on your heart, and while you're doing this for a minimum of 2 minutes, feel a feeling: gratitude, compassion, appreciation, love, joy, but feel a good feeling, or just smile. And what it does, it pumps your body full of 1,300 feel-good chemicals that are longevity generating. They're anti-cancer, anti-leukemias, you know, they're anti-aging, and they last for 6 hours in your body. It's some work that Jodie Spencer and Greg Braden do an awful lot of work around. And I must admit, I've been doing that probably for about 4 years now, following the Heart Math Institute and all their studies around the human electromagnetic field and how we interact with the planet and other people. And if you just do this twice a day, this breathing for 2 minutes, focusing on the heart and feeling, your day ends up like mild bliss is how I describe it. It doesn't really matter what goes wrong, because you've got the right chemical compound already running in your system to keep you out of fight and flight. So it sort of shuts your amygdala down a little bit and quietens it down. Because at the moment, with what's happening on the planet, I mean, there's a lot of people in high states of anxiety. So it's not like we're being chased by saber-toothed tigers anymore. But the amygdala is in fight and flight. So you're basically walking around with, you know, the protection chemicals running in your body, which can be quite detrimental over a period of time. So just doing that breathing, you know, the heart-based breathing and feeling it instantly just brings you out of that space. It's really cathartic.
Wow, that's great. I think that is a really important skill for people to definitely to take advantage of, especially during this time. So much easier to do that than, you know, pop a pill or whatever and get all the bad stuff that happens with that. That's such a pleasant thing to do, and it sounds like it has such a great effect on your life, such a positive effect on your life. So that
it does, yeah. It has a positive effect on those around you as well. So if you imagine, you know, if I do that and then I go and see my family, because my energy is in such a nice, stable, balanced place, if they're feeling a little bit off kilter, you know, they always say the most powerful energy in the room will have the biggest effect on people. And it just calms them down as well, because we're all interlinked. We're all part of the same one system, aren't we, really, when it comes down to it?
Yes. Oh, that's really wonderful advice. Wendy, I know you do a lot also with like motivational speaking and things. And one of the talking points you had mentioned was that you help people find or help find the authentic you. Can you talk a little bit about that and how people can find their authentic you?
Yeah, so there's probably 2 little tips I can give you with that. Number one, we tend to follow everybody else. We see the next big thing and think, oh, I need to be like that, or, you know, I need to do that. And we're taught not so much in school, but with all the social media, you know, I feel sorry for the kids nowadays because they're bombarded with images of what you should look like, behave like, talk like. I even have, you know, I know a few friends who, for the speaking purposes, have changed their accent. And I just think that's, you know, it's so sad that you're not sitting inside yourself and following your own internal guidance to what is right for you.
Yes.
So the first place to start really is just to go inside and listen to that intuitive self and ask it the question and let it give you a yes or no answer to things. Because you have this amazing guidance system that sits within you, that if you ask it a question, it will give you in a millisecond a yes or a no. And then what happens is we get that initial hit and we get the yes or the no, and then we question it with our conscious brain. We go, really? But I should do that because if I don't do that, they might get offended. Or, you know, so then we talk ourselves into something or out of something instead of going with that initial feeling that you have on the inside. So the first thing I say to people is, start tuning into your intuitive self first and finding what really truly brings you joy. And to do that, I always get people to look at their values, what's important to them. I think this is a very overlooked area of life. We tend to just get a job, do a job, work in the job, get your house, and then sort of retire and die, really. Now that sounds a bit pessimistic, doesn't it? But finding out what is truly important to you will help you really be authentic. And what I mean by that is just ask yourself the question, in what area, you can use this in any area of your life as well. What is important to me about X? So if it's work, what is important to me about work? And you want one word answers. So my example would be freedom, trust, honesty, and fun. And then I'd ask myself, why are these things important? And go into real detail. So why is honesty important to you? Why is trust? Why is fun important? Why is freedom? And what you end up with is this lovely big list of things that, if you're achieving at least 3 of these in that environment, you're going to be feeling fulfilled, which then leads to motivation, because motivation, if you break the word down, is only your motive in action. So if you don't know your motive, your values, your whys behind what you're doing, you're going to find it really hard to get your result. Whereas when you know your values, what's important to you in that environment, that is your natural motive in action, motivation. So those are the 2 things really for people to start becoming their authentic self. Listening to your internal intuition, wear the clothes you want to wear, wear the makeup you want to wear, the shoes you want to wear. Become you, do the things you want to do. Stop saying yes to everybody. You're allowed to say, no, actually, I'm not feeling that one. Thank you for the offer. And it is just that getting back to you. And people will appreciate it as well. Because when you find your authenticity, it gives other people the opportunity to do the same from a non-judgmental, non-ego, non-biased sort of space. And then look at your values, and from your values, you'll find your motive to put into action, motivation.
And people are such unique creatures that, they don't give themselves credit for being a unique thing. They want to, as you said, they want to all be like everyone else. And the beauty of a person is their uniqueness. They, and they, as you said, though, they want to be like everybody else and kind of fit into, but, don't give up, as you're telling them, that unique, authentic you. Be the unique, authentic you. That's what makes you stand out, correct?
Exactly. And it's the same with, one of my jobs is as a coach. And people always say to me, oh, there's so many coaches on the planet. I go, yeah, but they're not me. And what I mean by that, that's not coming from an ego space. I look at it like, this is going to sound weird, Maria. I look at it like cheese. This is how I look at things in life. I say, not everybody likes the same type of cheese. Some people like cheddar, some people like brie, some people like Stilton, and some people like smoked cheese. So I am a unique version of cheese. And some people are going to love my cheese. This sounds so weird. And some people won't like my cheese. And I would prefer to attract the people towards me that resonate with me, that I really want to work with as well, and that I can help, because then they'll recommend me to other people in the same ilk. And there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. So there's enough room for everybody to be their unique self and thrive. There's no need to compete against each other. Appreciate each other, give each other a bit of love and support, and you'll find you'll just thrive in any environment.
Exactly. Wow, these are all really interesting things. Wendy, I'm going to have you on as a guest another time. I will let you know, because these are such interesting topics, and I think they're so important, especially now for what's going on, in the world. People really need to know about this and kind of take another approach to the way that they live and things that they're doing. So I really thank you so much for joining us for my March Women's Month segments. Thanks so much, and I hope everything's going okay in the UK. How are they doing with everything? Are you guys on lockdown or?
Oh, who knows? I don't watch the news. So my life, all that's happened for me, Maria, is everything is now happening out of my office.
Yes. I don't blame you. I don't like watching the news either. Too much negativity for me. So I just take what I need and I do not focus on that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I know what I need to know, but apart from that, I think I just like to keep myself in a good space. I think we're coming out of all of this in June, apparently.
Yes, it sounds like we may be doing the same. So that's great. All right, Wendy, thank you so much. And yes, I will definitely be in touch with you again. Thanks so much. Oh, and also I forgot, let my listeners know where they can find you, find your book. Do you have a website?
Oh, okay. Yes. So my website is wendysmith.me.uk, and you can buy the book off of Amazon, or you can look on the website and just click the link. But the book was called 50 Ways to Change, and it was just all of it's about 30 years worth of personal development knowledge. So I put it into 50 different segments, and then the back of the book is a how do you apply it to life. So it's a bit of a guide as well. You get to unpick your map of reality and put it back together.
Really interesting, Wendy. And I'll try to we'll put a link on my blog with Wendy's website also, just in case. But and what's the name of the book again?
50 Ways to Change.
50 Ways to Change by Wendy Smith. So definitely look for that book. All right, thanks again, Wendy. And
thank you.
We'll have you another time, definitely. Thanks so much. We'll be talking to you. Cheers.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you to your listeners as well.
Okay, bye-bye now. Bye.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life, and where we answer the question, what does food mean to you? Thanks to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's guest in honor of National Women's Month this month was Wendy Smith, a former Paralympian, trauma expert, and author. And don't forget, join me in my Easter event where I'll be making a lemon ricotta Easter bread on Zoom with celebrity chef Joe Borio, who's joining me, and he'll be making another treat for Easter also. You can register for that event. It will be on April 2nd at 2 p.m. on Zoom. And you can register for that event on Eventbrite, or you can just go to my website at marialiberati.com to the link on Eventbrite to register for that event. Registration is limited, so register as soon as possible. We'll be making some delicious treats for Easter, and you'll be receiving a recipe card for the recipe I'll be doing. And also, you can find me at marialiberati.com, on Twitter at Maria Liberati with a capital M, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on LinkedIn at M Liberati. And you can find my book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking by Maria Liberati, anywhere you can find books online, but you can also find my books filled with culinary memoirs and lots of recipes at marialiberati.com and on the publisher's website at artoflivingprimamedia.com. Until next time, peace, love, and pasta.